Guitar tips, just the tips, just for you. Guitar tips. Hello and welcome to Guitar Tips. My name is Adam Levy. This is my weekly video blog series, as you may know. I post a new tip here each and every Friday. Friday morning, if you happen to be on Pacific time, as I am. I appreciate you tuning in, and I also appreciate you asking questions and making comments. There's a space for that down below. I like it when people get involved in the tips, and of course, if you just want to sit quietly and watch, that's fine too. But I've had some interesting comments and interesting questions, and I always like it when people participate. So if there's something on your mind that you want to see as a future guitar tip, let me know. You can put it in a comment down below, or you can write to me at guitartips@adamlevy.com. Let's see, what else? Guitar Tips is sponsored by Martin Guitar Strings. Those are the strings I use here on my acoustic guitar, which also happens to be Martin. I like the retro strings. This is a light gauge retro set, currently tuned to open D, the capo on it, so we're in E. I like other Martin strings too. The SP strings are really cool. I've used marquees, but these days retro is my string scene. I don't know, they look good, they sound good, they feel good, they play in tune, they stay in tune, they last, they do all the things that I demand of a guitar string. I like them. I don't know what else to say. I don't have like a script, as you may have noticed, so I don't have some punchy ad line to say about these strings. I just genuinely like them, and so thank you, Martin. Okay, on with the guitar tip. It is time for the tip. This week's guitar tip is boldly go where no guitarist has gone before. Boldly go where no guitarist has gone before. That's a nod, of course, to Star Trek, if you happen to be a fan of Kirk and Spock and Bones McCoy and Scotty and all the rest, you know, the Professor and Marianne. Anyway, what's the point? What is the point? Why boldly go? What am I talking about? What is this tip about? Well, this came up sort of, as many of these tips do, from just conversations I've been having recently with friends and students and whatever, and also thinking about some stuff in my past. So I was at a friend's house listening to a Frank Sinatra record called Frank Sinatra Sings for Only the Lonely. Great string arrangements, orchestral arrangements by Nelson Riddle. And we heard a song called Willow Weep for Me, which is written by a songwriter named Anne Ronell. And sorry, I'm looking out the window at my neighbor. Everything's cool. Everything's cool. He's got this dog, so I think he's some kind of boxer dog. And anyway, they're walking by, dogs checking things out. I'm checking them out. It all checks out. Okay. So we're listening to this Nelson Riddle arrangement, and we had a guitar or a couple of guitars knocking around that happened to be in open D tuning, and we started thinking, wow, is it possible to play, you know, something like this beautiful orchestral arrangement that we're listening to and in open D tuning on the guitar? First of all, is it even possible? And if it is possible, is it, well, that's it. Is it possible, and who could do it? So we kind of challenged each other. You know, we said, hey, you know, let's work on this and then get together soon and see what we come up with individually. So I started doing a more or less, transcription of it. the Nelson Riddle arrangement, and I found some really interesting things. So Sinatra sang it in the key of E. I'm in open D tuning with a capo at the 2nd fret. You could certainly just tune your guitar to open E. There's no reason not to. But I generally like to tune down instead of up. So I'm down to open D, capo 2, so I'm in E. And people generally, if they sing this song, would think of it as something like this. Willow, weep for me. Willow, weep for me. Bend your branches green along the stream that runs to sea. Listen to my plea. Something like that. Kind of bluesy, jazzy chord progression. But Nelson Riddle just went a totally different direction. And while there is a guitar on this recording, it's very quiet. It doesn't play the whole way through. It's kind of noticeable for about 8 bars in the instrumental section when Frank's not singing. So the point is, the guitar is not driving this arrangement. It's not driving the harmony. It's not doing very much. It kind of provides a little flavor during the instrumental section. But I found all these chord voicings in trying to approximate the arrangement. There are things that I just hadn't thought of in this tuning. Usually you just, at least for me, I think of these kind of folksy, Americana-y, country, singer-songwriter-y moves, whatever you want to call that. There's kind of some known familiar moves in this tuning if you're an open tuning person. But the first verse right off the bat is this really chromatic thing, and it goes something like this. Willow, weep for me. Willow, weep for me. Bend your branches green along the stream that runs to sea. So it's pretty extreme. That, what would you name it? Why would you name it? It doesn't even need a name. It's just this chromatic thing. Sorry, that resolves this. And then it does go to the 4 dominant. Listen to my plea. Listen, Willow, and weep for me. The shape is so easy. I've used it like if you've ever played Bob Dylan's Simple Twist of Fate. That shape comes up as a G minor chord. Sat together in the park. Was then he felt alone. So that is a G minor chord, but in this Willow Weep for Me arrangement, a half step down as F sharp minor with these low strings becomes a big D major 7. We're up, so that's E major 7 in actual pitch. But I just never thought of playing them, a major 7 kind of chord in this tuning. But it's right there. It's very easy. Or a 4 dominant chord. It's right there. It's real easy, but I just never thought of it. And I'm not going to play the whole arrangement for you here. This would make for a very long tip. But I'll show you that the last verse is really neat. He goes up a half step. And it just basically moves chromatically with this low pedal. And it goes, Willow, weep for me. Weep in sympathy. Sing with sympathy. Willow, weep for me. Weep in sympathy. What? I'm doing it wrong here. Willow, weep for me. Weep in sympathy. That's what it is. Bend your branches down along the ground and cover me. Oh, ground, and cover me. Bend your branches down along the ground and cover me. I doing that right? I think that's right. I'm going to do it one more time. Thank you for bearing with me. Bend your branches down along the ground and cover me. That's what it is. Along the ground. That's what it is. Bend your branches down along the ground and cover me. When the shadows fall, hear me, willow wind, weep for me. And it goes back to the thing we did before as kind of an outro. Anyway, humor me. I appreciate you humoring me. It took me a minute to get at what that really was. But the point is, I was chasing after this thing that really had no guitar in it to begin with, or no significant guitar, and in doing so, found some new stuff on the guitar in this tuning that I'd used in the past as a kind of 1-4-5 simple tuning, and realized that it's actually there's much more potential in it. I don't intend for this tip to be about open tuning specifically, but just more what can you get at when you try to figure out something from a non-guitaristic recording and bring it onto the guitar. I did a similar thing several years ago. I did an arrangement of Maria from West Side Story. I basically just tried to take the orchestra from the original Broadway recording, or whatever recording that I had, a very anyway, and take Leonard Bernstein's orchestration onto the guitar. You could do this with other things. You could do it with piano music. My friend Robbie McIntosh did a really great recording of one of the Chopin preludes, the Chopin piano prelude in E minor, which I can't play at all, and certainly can't play it in this tuning. But he did a very faithful piano transcription, and of course you could do any of the above, and then really make it your own and do something fresh with it. But the reason this really resonates for me, besides the fact that I just really love Willow Weep for Me and I love Nelson Riddle, is that when I was in music school a long time ago, before you were born probably, I went to a school called the Dick Grove School of Music, and I went there for 2 years. I went through 1 year where I was in their general musicianship program as a guitar major, and I played guitar hours and hours and hours every day. And I finished that 1 year program, and then I went through another 1 year program which they called the Composing and Arranging Program, or CAP. For anyone who was there, that's what we called it. That's what the school called it, the CAP program. And that was a really interesting year for me, which is that I was in music many hours a day, but barely touched my guitar at all. I'd pick it up once in a while to see if something I'd written for 4 trombones actually sounded like something. I don't play piano very well, and I don't think I even had a piano at the time, so the only way I could really check certain voicings was to pick up my guitar and try them out. But on the whole, my guitar gathered a lot of dust that year, but my musical mind never got any dust on it, because it was in motion all the time. And so I feel like I learned a lot in both years, and both of those years really influenced the musician that I've ultimately become. And I mean, I'm still growing. I haven't ultimately, it's not ultimate yet. But I would just encourage you to take some non-guitar music onto the guitar, boldly go where no guitar has gone before. You won't regret it. I can pretty much guarantee that. And people will wonder how your style will have some stuff in it that doesn't sound like, all the other stuff that we all seem to be influenced by. learn a Randy Newman song on the guitar, or learn, just about anything. On a related note, a few years ago, I did this series of public domain songs, very old songs, things from the teens and 20s and some earlier, and worked up little guitar arrangements of them. And the guitar arrangements that I worked up often were taken from either something in the original sheet music from long ago, or something from an early recording, off an old 78 or something. So I was learning these songs not from any guitar reference point, but just from a musical reference point, and trying to work out the arrangements on the guitar as best as I could. Enough said. Boldly go where no guitar has gone before. You got it. Thank you. There's a subscribe button down below. It's easy to do, and I hope that you will. Stay tuned and take good care.